I think you're ready to go. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our joint talk here. Are we ready? I think we are. So let us show you today how we turn your organization into a superhero. I think we all know the Marvel shows through all the generations, right? You've had the lesson on that, and we all know it. So I'm Elvira Wallis. I'm the Senior Vice President of SAP Leonardo IoT. And with me on stage is...
Hi, good morning. I'm Mike Flannagan. I'm responsible for solution management for SAP Leonardo.
And what we will do today is we will really look at how we can unlock the intelligent enterprise through Internet of Things, machine learning, blockchain, and analytics. And Mike, why don't you start by explaining to us SAP Leonardo and all the superhero powers it brings to us?
All right, so in the coin toss, it was either going to be Superman or Deadpool, and it didn't go my way. So Superman it is. But when we talk about unleashing the superpowers in your organization with SAP Leonardo, what we really mean is that we want to think about how to use intelligent technologies together with our intelligent, excuse me, we're having a little trouble with the slides not being in sync, please. There we go. How we bring together the intelligence suite from SAP. Technology struggles continue on stage this morning. So if you think about the intelligence suite from SAP, we mean core applications like S/4HANA, SuccessFactors, C/4HANA, Ariba, all the business applications that you think of. And those applications need to work together, but just having them all work together isn't enough. You have to be able to make sense of all the data and be able to very quickly adapt to change. In fact, if you haven't been over to the ribbon station this morning, I found a couple that I really liked for my badge. And one says, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change, which I think really defines what we mean when we talk about the intelligent technologies that we're infusing into our core business applications using SAP Leonardo. It's not just about the core function of the application, ERP or HR management. It's about making those functions more intelligent, making them more able to adapt to change. And as we all know, change is happening in most of our companies faster than it's ever happened before. And we need to be able to adapt to that change and optimize our business processes to take full advantage of the opportunities that we have. So the intelligent enterprise vision from SAP is about bringing together this intelligent suite of applications with the intelligent technologies that give you the ability to quickly adapt to change. Things like machine learning, things like IoT, things like blockchain, and of course analytics. So Leonardo is really what brings the intelligence to the intelligent enterprise and to that suite. So we find these technologies more and more now embedded into each of these business applications, and you'll hear more about that in all of the talks this week and at all of the various booths that you'll go to. Of course, all of these are built on top of our platform of SAP Cloud Platform, which means that you can very seamlessly connect all these parts without having to do a lot of extra integration work. So when we talk about powering the enterprise, we talk about powering the intelligent enterprise with these intelligent technologies. There are a couple of different ways that we'll do this, and I'll talk to you about the various ways that Leonardo comes to the enterprise in just a moment. But if you really just think about this is our ability to bring intelligence to every business process to create better outcomes. It's about solving business problems, right? Nobody ever comes to us and says, hey, I woke up this morning and decided that I wanted to buy some machine learning, or hey, I thought this morning when I got out of bed that IoT would be a cool thing to play with today. But it's always about a business problem, and it's in the context of a business process that needs a better outcome than it's currently getting, and what can we do to help improve the outcome of the business process. These technologies are our way to be able to bring the intelligence to those business processes to drive to those better outcomes. So the intelligence is the means to an end, right? The outcome that we're really driving for is an improved business process and an improved outcome from that. Now, where we see commonality across use cases between a number of customers, we look to embed these intelligent technologies directly into the core applications like S/4HANA or C/4HANA or SuccessFactors. One example of that that was just rolled out at Success Connect was in SuccessFactors, workforce analytics has now been infused with the SAP Analytics Cloud. So SAP Analytics Cloud is now the engine for workforce analytics embedded directly into SuccessFactors, and with that you can now get a lot of intelligence about what's happening in your workforce right inside of the SuccessFactors application. And you no longer have to take the data out and put it into an analytics tool. They're now together, and it makes the process much more smooth. And the reason that we were able to do that is we saw enough commonality across the desire of customers to have workforce analytics that there was a very simple, straightforward set of things that we could provide out of the box for every customer that we knew would be widely consumed and adopted, right, and very useful. Of course, not everything makes sense to embed into a core product. As you can imagine, those products are things that are deployed by lots of customers, and if there's not a high degree of commonality across the use cases, then making the decision to embed a particular set of intelligent technologies directly into that core business application may not be the right answer. In that case, we have two different options. One is what we call industry innovation kits, and these are focused on a problem that's very discrete within an industry or a line of business. And within that industry or within that line of business, these use cases are things where we see enough commonality across customers that it makes sense to bring some reusable components together to be able to address that business process change, but it's maybe not common enough across all of our customers that embedding it into the core product makes sense. So think of this as something that sits very close to the core product, but isn't embedded directly. And then the last is open innovation. And for those of you who are familiar with or have gone through in the past design thinking with SAP, we can work together and co-innovate on just about any business problem, and we can bring our experts not only in problem identification and design thinking, but our experts in machine learning or blockchain or IoT in to help make sure that we apply those technologies in the right ways. There are lots of companies, lots of people who can do things with IoT or do things with machine learning. Where SAP's expertise really comes in is how to apply that technology at the right place in a business process to drive a better outcome of the business process. So it's not the technology for technology's sake, it's the ability to apply that technology at the place in a business process to drive a better outcome. And we do that together with our design thinking colleagues to make sure that we're attacking really the most important parts of the process where driving a better outcome or a different outcome really makes the highest business impact. So those are kind of the three ways in which we bring Leonardo to the enterprise. One is embedded into our core products, and more you'll see these technologies being embedded directly into these core products. The second is our industry innovation kits, which are pre-configured, pre-integrated elements that work together with those core products. And the last is open innovation, which may involve bringing together some things with the core products, or it may be a completely separate application. So, Elvira, that's kind of the high-level overview of what Leonardo is and how we bring it to our customers, but you're going to get into the mysterious superpowers underneath the covers, right? So I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mike. So what I'll do next is I'll walk you through a couple of examples of how machine learning, blockchain, and IoT works in the context of business processes, because as Mike so aptly said, it's ultimately about the business outcome that people wish to achieve applying those technologies. So I'd like to start with the topic of machine learning. And we can take an example that we're all familiar with. Anybody here ever bought a car? That's a mobility as a service crowd. Only very few people bought a car here. So for those of you who ever bought a car and are not yet fully in the mobility as a service camp, some of us like the experience of going to a car dealer, some maybe not so much. And for those people who want to have a different experience, how to shop a car, machine learning can actually be helpful. And from a company's point of view, in turn, it means how might I, as a company, attract shoppers that wish more to have a digital experience and that really would like to know upfront what are all my options and price points, the informed shopper in the digital age. So what does machine learning have to do with all of that? So here we have an example from Daimler. And what we see in this example is I can identify my dream car because I see it somewhere parked in the streets, maybe in Vegas, maybe New York, maybe elsewhere around the world. I take a photo of my dream car, and now we use machine learning. In fact, we use image recognition with a pre-trained model that we trained even more to do an object detection. Which object is it? Which make is it? Which company is it? Which model is it? We used the pre-trained model for this specific use case, trained it some more specifically on the makes and models of Daimler-Benz. And what it then means is I can find out all my options for this car, including the unfortunate topic of price, as you can see here. And I can also see where is my next Mercedes-Benz dealer, where I could go to really go and identify that car that I predominantly now pre-configured online, or rather it was not only pre-configured for me, or I didn't do most of the pre-configuration, I actually got suggestions. The pre-configuring of a car online that has been around for a while, here we have the added notion of the suggestions. All of this is achieved with machine learning, with image recognition, with training a model on makes and models, and training it some more, in this case, on makes and models of a specific brand. Ultimately, it results in a different shopping experience. By the way, this specific app is going to go live at Daimler Q1 2019. So this is an example of how you can use a technology like machine learning to achieve a specific business outcome. In this case, attract my shoppers who have a digital experience about shopping for a car and also want to be well informed about options and price, doing that in an online way. So this is just one of many examples. Let's take an example with superpowers coming from blockchain. I think we all are well aware of that in this world a lot of food is produced, doesn't necessarily reach the consumer. In fact, I read the statistic that 30% of the food produced in this world never makes it on a plate of any one person. And what we find out is also that we have a lot of considerate shoppers that really wish to know, in a farm to fork or farm to spoon kind of behavior, where does my food come from? Where has it been? Has it been sustainably farmed? Are the farmers paid well? What is the journey that my food has gone through? Have any pesticides been used or not? Or even if you're not so concerned about the sustainability of it, what really matters to a lot of people is allergens. So what we do here, using blockchain, together with the classic traceability capabilities of the software, is we embed blockchain into the business process of a supply chain of producing food all the way to the demand chain, to the consumer. And we basically bring the blockchain capabilities together with the common data related things like what are the ingredients, what's the batch, how do I trade it, how has it been processed, who was the producer, and so forth. And what it helps is really understand the whole journey of the food. It makes a recall, if it should occur, significantly easier. We've all heard about recalls, and that they tend to be very costly. In this case, you could do a very precise recall because you know exactly where that batch has been, in which container it has been, where it has been produced, in which processes, and you know the whole chain from the raw material to the semi-processed food to the processed food. So again, we bring a technology with blockchain together with traceability, and at the end of the day, you have a farm to consumer network where the journey of the ingredient is known all the way. It gives the consumer assurance as to the occurrence, and it gives the producer assurance as to the entire process. It's another example of the bringing together of a technology like blockchain with business processes, where in an SAP context, you go all the way from the supply chain to the demand chain. And now let's take our third example of how we bring one of the Leonardo technologies together with business processes, and this is from the area of Internet of Things. What we see here is we have a company which really deals with product replenishment. Let's say they produce raw materials in containers, pretty standardized steel containers. It could be a flavor, and that is brought via trucks in containers to their B2B customers who process these ingredients, and Halloween is around the corner. So of course, what else would we produce other than pumpkin flavored cookies? Obviously, that's the food of choice. So what we have here are two personas. One, we have Sarah. Sarah is in charge of the operations at Organic Flavors. So her job is to make sure really that at the customer, the pumpkin flavor arrives in time and in quality, and they never run out of supply, because who would want to see the kids at Halloween without the pumpkin flavored cookies? She's also making sure that the material is available at the site just enough, because too much also, frankly, is a waste of resources and a waste of capital. On the other hand, we have Michael, our really much appreciated system administrator, who makes sure that Sarah at all points in time has the technical support and the system set up. So what we're going to play here is Sarah really wants to have some awareness as to what's going on in the yard with the forklifts, whether the containers with the pumpkin flavor are available on time, and also that there is enough of the pumpkin flavored containers at the customers. So what we will see here is we have Michael, who will deploy using Web IDE a template that will show Sarah the whereabouts of the forklifts in the yard and their battery status, because forklift happens to be predominantly battery powered. This is Internet of Things, so one of the things we're going to track here is, does my forklift have enough juice? Does it have enough battery to really be able to transport things around in my yard? So what Michael is going to do here is he's going to take one of the templates that are available to him in Web IDE, no coding required, and he deploys it to the cloud platform. And that in turn, if we then, so he deploys it, he needs to save. That in turn, if we now switch roles, now I'm putting my hat on as Sarah. I'm Sarah, and remember, I'm in charge of making sure my customers have enough pumpkin flavor, and I'm also making sure the intralogistics work at my company. So what I can see here is I can see a forecast of the battery usage of the forklift that comes straight from the battery, that I can see in this card deployed to the left, which was a standard template deployed via Web IDE. I can also see the containers and their fill level. In other words, is there enough pumpkin flavor available? I can see, are there any in-transit shipments in case I'm running short with my flavors? How can I see the in-transit shipments? Well, of course, our trucks provide us with that IoT data. And I can also see, based on some calculation, how far is the next warehouse? Where are they relative to arriving at the warehouse with the new flavor? All of that because I can take the IoT data from the forklift, I can take the IoT data from the truck, I can calculate where they're going to, where's the warehouse, how long does it take, how long is the distance, and of course I'm taking into account whether there are traffic jams or not. Now, next that happens, this is a demo, right? So we need some drama. Obviously, consumption of pumpkin flavor is high. Running out of supply is not a good idea. So what will Sarah do? She understands that one of the flavors is really on high demand. There's an unusual high consumption. So she can do two things. She can check if there's already a truck en route. Again, the strength of SAP's IoT is integration with the business system. So of course we know whether the truck is already en route with the raw material called pumpkin flavor. There's not. So what will she do? She will complete a pending sales order to order some more of the pumpkin flavor. And as she does that, the world is dandy again. We have enough supply, the issue is resolved, but no demo with not even more drama. So of course, the next thing she will find out, cheapers, one of the forklifts is running low on battery. So while she might have now a wonderful order and she can produce more pumpkin flavor, the forklift, which is supposed to bring it to the trucks, is running almost on empty. So she checks again, hey, is there any other forklift around which has enough juice, which has enough battery? And of course, there are two idling at the dock with a green status, so meaning enough juice, enough battery power. And that means she will reroute the forklift to where it is supposed to be to replace the other one that's running low on energy, and that will help her providing the containers with the pumpkin flavor in time to where they need to be. So what you can see in this scenario with the rerouting now of the forklift as the final step is that we bring together information from moving assets, such as forklift of our truck. We bring container information on a fill level together with business process information from the various backends, so that in this example we have enough supply to my customers. They never run out of the raw material they need. And also things are brought to the customer in time. And while I'm organizing my intralogistics in my yard or in my warehouse, everything is going to my liking because I have the upfront information about the whereabouts of my assets. And with that, I think we showed you how, as Mike aptly pointed out, it's ultimately about the business outcome, namely, in this case, supplying enough flavors in time to my business partner. And with that, Mike?
3 demos in 9.5 minutes. That's pretty impressive. Nice job. Can we give her a round of applause? So this concludes the presentation portion. We would love to talk to you more about any of the demos that we showed today or anything that I covered in terms of overall SAP Leonardo and how it integrates with our core products. If you would like to talk a little bit more, just outside of this room and to the left, there's a very comfy little area with couches and chairs. Please join us. Elvira and I will step over there and do Q&A for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.